Hiddlestans rejoice! Loki is back, and this time he's the star of his own Disney Plus show.
I am a god, you dull creature!
In this episode of Heat Vision Breakdown, we're diving deep into the MCU series that's bringing us new realities, a new bromance, and Loki versus Loki.
Come on. What did you expect?
Warning, minor spoilers ahead. So yes, Loki is back. I guess Thor was wrong about his brother's Infinity War death sticking after all.
So dead brother, huh? Yeah, it could be annoying.
The version of Loki we see in the series is a variant, aka that's Marvel talk for someone who got off their proper timeline. In this case, we're following a Loki circa 2012, the villain who was trying to take over Earth in the first Avengers movie. Ah, simpler times. In the original timeline, Loki was defeated by Thor, Iron Man, may he rest in peace, and the rest of the good old Avenging gang. But when the Avengers traveled back in time to 2012 in Endgame, they created an alternate timeline, one in which Loki actually escaped. The question since then has been, well, what the hell happened to that version of Loki, and where the f did he go? Well, the series is set to tackle that question over 6 hours, and we're gonna set it up in under 6 minutes.
I'm listening.
First things first, setting the scene. The God of Mischief is captured by a mysterious, powerful organization known as the Time Variance Authority and charged with crimes against the sacred timeline. His chance at redemption, working with them to stop a bad guy. The series also introduces some Marvel newcomers to the mix, including Owen Wilson as Mobius M. Mobius, Gugu Mbatha-Raw as Ravonna Renslayer, and Wunmi Masaku as Hunter B-15. Speaking of newcomers, this isn't the same old Loki we know and love either. It's more like a new old Loki. So the show is a chance to see Loki like we've never seen him before, one who didn't have the redemption arc that saw him ultimately sacrifice himself in Infinity War. Hiddleston has clearly put some deep thought about Loki over the past decade, even preparing hours worth of Loki lectures for the cast and crew of the series to bring them up to speed on his journey with the character. And this, my friends, is why we Hiddlestan.
If it were easy, everyone would do it.
The actor truly believed Infinity War would be his last time out playing the character he originated with 2011's Thor, so he had to find a pretty compelling reason to return. That reason? Well, to see Loki tested and unleashed like never before. But it won't be easy for Loki to return to his normal mischief and mayhem. Minutes into the pilot, he's captured by the Time Variance Authority, also known as the TVA. The mysterious TVA is indeed new to the MCU, an organization that monitors the various timelines of the multiverse. As is explained in episode 1, in the distant past there was a huge multiverse that came into conflict with one another, resulting in a major war. Powerful beings known as the Timekeepers use the TVA to work to preserve a sacred timeline. When a variant deviates from the sacred timeline, a nexus point is created and a branch reality is formed. All this to say that those of the TVA have been working serious overtime to keep the timeline flowing so that teensy little disaster never happens again.
How do you plead?
In the comics, the TVA first appeared in 1986 in the pages of Thor, but hasn't made it to the screen until now. As a side note, head writer Michael Waldron also penned the upcoming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which fans speculate could be affected by the events of Loki and even include the TVA, though your guess is as good as ours. The TVA also points us to an unlikely standout. While Hiddleston has proven to be a scene stealer over his decade in the MCU, it's actually everyone's favorite wedding crasher Owen Wilson that's crashing this MCU party and making it his own. Wilson plays Mobius M. Mobius in the show, an agent at the TVA who specializes in the investigations of particularly dangerous time criminals and knows a thing or two about Loki. Now, if it looks like Wilson fits right into the MCU with his witty banter and on-screen chemistry with Hiddleston, fun fact, the actor, best known for his quirky comedies,
Put me down! I don't like to be manhandled!
wasn't even a Marvel fan before joining the series. Fans have already flooded social media praising the new dynamic duo and on-screen bromance, but don't worry, nothing will replace this. Over the years, Thor has proven to be a foil for Loki, but Wilson's character Mobius may prove to be the mirror that dives deeper into Loki in ways we've never seen. Mobius is a Loki expert, someone who knows everything he's ever done, everywhere he's ever been, which brings us to Loki versus Loki. In the pilot, we learn that there's a variant, refresher Marvel talk for someone who's gotten off their proper timeline, out there causing trouble in the timeline. Mobius informs Loki that this variant, spoiler alert, is in fact a different Loki. While it's been rumored that we'll see a villainous version of Steve Rogers' Captain America at some point in the MCU, pitting good versus evil, Loki is breaking down by pitting villain against villain.
Now get out of my way.
The series dives into the very question of who Loki is and the nature of free will. As Mobius suggests, Loki's purpose is not to rule, it's to bring out the best in the people, to bring out the best in the Avengers. The problem is, that's not something that sits well with Loki.
Guilty of a crime against the sacred timeline. Absolutely not, you have the wrong person.
The Disney Plus shows have proven to be character studies of those we've known from the movies. WandaVision dealt with Wanda's grief, Falcon and the Winter Soldier explored what it meant for Sam Wilson to become Captain America, and Loki may be the deepest exploration yet, a fan-favorite character meeting his match in himself.